Take your front seat. The runway lights are up and the room is buzzing. Welcome to Brand Runway, where fempreneurs, coaches and visionaries transform from hidden gem to high-end influence. I'm Jenni Parker Brown, your front row guide to creating your own unforgettable brand presence. Each episode delivers the exact tools and brand direction to make you shine. From magnetic messaging to client attraction systems that feel as natural and delicious as a designer jacket. Whether I'm sharing backstage insights from my own journey or featuring conversations with brilliant innovators, you'll leave knowing exactly how to showcase your unique brilliance to attract your ideal customers. Because a luxury level brand presence shouldn't be exclusive. It should be accessible to every helping professional ready to step into your spotlight. Ladies, you've come to the right place. It's your time. And the champagne's on me. Yes, the lights are up and the room is buzzing. And this is the first Spotlight Brand Runway Live with our incredible female founders on the stage, not quite the stage we want yet, but certainly on the global stage to share their brilliance with you. I am Jenni P, your host and person behind Brand Runway, creator. And we are going to talk deeply tonight about something that touches just about every female founder. So we all know as female founders that the path to success in whatever way we deem it to be is not the yellow brick road. Far from it. It is certainly not the yellow brick road. And sometimes it can feel like we've got our Louboutin high heels on the yellow brick road when we wobble, go over, lose our way, all sorts of things happen. So what happened here was that the first Spotlight issue has just come out and our founders and cover star and special guest didn't have a theme that was given to them, but what emerged from what they had to share was how tricky this path to success can be, how sometimes the path can be tricky, how we get to stages in our success or our fulfillment or our business building and find that it wasn't as we thought. I know that my founders work with high-level achieving women or high aspiring women, and that this is a common thing that they find is people get to whatever version of success that they have and find that it really is not all that they thought. So we're going to go into that. If that's resonating with you, we're going to dive deeply into that tonight. And I'm going to introduce them all to you very quickly, and then we're going to dive in with some gems. So first of all, our April Spotlight cover star is Jo Soley, the founder of Bizology, with over 2 decades of marketing and business strategy. Jo combines incredible business acumen with the art and science and the ancient cosmic wisdom of numerology. And she really is a master, or should I say a mistress. She is absolutely brilliant. I know she's just brought tarot into it at all. She's a very, very loved bizologist on the circuit. And I am absolutely thrilled that she's taken her time. I've known Jo for some years. I can never stop listening to her. When she starts talking about numbers, I am literally all ears. Very, very honoured to have Kay Suthar on the show tonight. Kay is the first and only, I think, female British Indian to own a video podcast production agency in the world. She is CEO and founder of Make Your Mark Podcast Agency and Make Your Mark Podcast, and helps business owners, coaches and speakers and thought leaders turn their podcasts into authority building, revenue generating machines. She might be tiny, but she is an absolute powerhouse. Former London officer, MMA fighter, voiceover actress, creator of children's audio books, and honoured with a personal letter from the late Queen of England because her book holds a place in the private royal library. Kudos, Kay. As a child, she dreamed of being a Marvel superhero. It turns out she didn't need a cape. She's already making an impact, one podcast at a time. We have the beautiful, amazing, and very athletic Kip Clark, a soul-led entrepreneur, executive coach, transformational catalyst, thought stylist, and many other things, including her elite level athleticism. She uses powerful insights to help release subconscious beliefs that have been holding you back so that the women that we are serving can shine with brilliance and bring your unique gifts to the world. Also, 35 years and experience coaching, mentoring, teaching, learning, speaking, writing, and conducting research. Professional coach, sports coach, Reiki practitioner, NLP, EFT. My goodness, Kip, is there anything you can't do? Okay, and Agnes, aka the Reinvention Mentor, living proof that you can have your most extraordinary chapters in life, that they unfold after the age of 50. Agnes works with women 50 plus who have ticked off all the boxes of conditioned life society expected them to live, yet find themselves at an inner crossroads because they've outgrown it. Her work is grounded, like all my founders, in a unique methodology and their own vision, which she calls lifestyle architecture, a conscious and intentional approach to redesigning life by keeping what works, releasing what no longer does, and adding what has been missing. Agnes is incredibly pragmatic and practical, and she is a gorgeous person to have in the room when anything needs sorting. Okay, Karen Goodchild, holistic wellness coach, guide, mentor, now in a new phase of her brand and work called frequency-led leadership, and founder of the Frequency Factor. So she combines frequency, energy, alignment with high-level leadership. She works with self-aware female leaders who already have the experience, expertise, and capability to create impact, but whose life and results aren't yet fully reflecting the level they know they're ready for. Then we have Kate. Kate has been, for a very long time, a Pilates teacher, devoted to body work, highly attuned Pilates, yoga, personal training studio in Hawaii. That was a stepping stone. Now she has had a major life reconversion and a business reconversion, and she transmits the wisdom of the female body through her own methodology that she learned from a rare and precious leader who is not training anybody else now, I believe, called feminine body mapping. That is Kate's own name. A system imprinted, she says, through lineage teachings and her own direct embodied experience. This is feminine embodiment at its most elevated and incredibly healing work for women who've got to a certain stage in their life and realize that something is really majorly wrong. So I am going to go back to our lovely Jo Soli and let her share with you what happens. Let's just take this topic from a little bit more of a general point of view, so you aren't constrained in your sharing. As I said at the beginning, this is what happens if success doesn't work out the way you thought it was going to. This can also be the trajectory to success, which often, as we well know, goes in all sorts of directions and takes us in paths that aren't necessarily helpful to us. So the road to success is very winding, and I think definitely the metaphor of wearing Louboutin on the yellow brick road certainly feels like that sometimes. So, Jo, my lovely cover star, please share your brilliance with us.
Thank you. So when Jenni said to me, what happens when success isn't what you thought it should be? So it took me back to 2013. To me, success means alignment. And I had a successful business, but something didn't fit. I lived in Devon. I was known, liked, and trusted, and I was really busy. And I called my business Your Brilliant Business Angel. So you can imagine I was the right hand woman. I was a support role. On paper, it worked, but it wasn't really mine. I was good at it, very good, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. So then I moved for love. Don't do it, don't do it. And I lost my identity locally because in Devon, my business was networking locally. And when I found numerology, things clicked. So I went to an event and the keynote speaker, his opening gambit was forget International Women's Day because it was the 8th of March 2017, International Women's Millennium. So he had me at hello and I went down a rabbit hole. Don't do it again. I came back with a couple of rabbits and I really, really understood what numerology was. I read about 50 books. I studied at a London college and I appreciated myself through the lens of numbers. I'm a life path 1. I'm meant to lead, not support. So nothing was wrong, it was misaligned. So success can feel off. Most people think do more, but it's not more, it's alignment. So I'm a life path 1. I've done something wacky, crazy, bringing numerology into business, but I'm here to do that. I'm here to do something innovative. I'm born on the 4th of the 4th. I'm like a dog with a bone. Ask Jenny. Nothing gets past me. I work hard. It's not a swear word in my world. But I don't have much 6 in my chart. So I'm 53, never married, no kids. I'm not great in massive groups. I'm not great in communities. I have to be in small ones and the right ones. So this bridges us to Bizology. Your numbers show you who you are, how you work, what fits, what doesn't fit, so that you can stop forcing models that aren't yours. And then you start making clearer decisions. You force less. You have more ease and more flow and business feels like yours. I'm now 9 years into this iteration of my business, Bizology. And it feels like mine. Of course, like Jenny says, every day is not a bed of roses. We're not walking down the yellow brick road with Louboutins on. Well, if we are, we'd fall over. But there isn't one way to do business. There's your way. And your numbers show you your way. So when success doesn't feel right, it's usually not because it isn't working. It's because it's not aligned and you're not doing it in alignment with your numbers. So if you're a life path 1 or got any 1 energy, like me, you're here to lead and do it through innovation. If you've got 2 or you're a life path 2, you're here to do it through sensitivity and partnership. If you're a 3, it's all about communication and creativity. If you're a 4, it's about structure and building. If you're a 5, it's through adventure and change. If you're a 6, it's through nurturing and community. If you're a 7, it's through seeking and learning. If you're an 8, it's through CEO executive energies. If you're a 9, like Jenny, it's through humanitarian activities, vision and service. If you're 11, it's through spirit and inspiration. If you're a 22, it's through change and transformation. So check out your numbers because you might be making success harder than it should be. Jo Soley, Bizology, using the power of numerology to elevate your business success.
Brilliant. Yes, like know your numbers to avoid all of the pitfalls that so many people go through. Fantastic. Okay, let's go straight on to Kay. Kay, how's your path been? What have you learned? What can you share about what you've built? What are your highlights? What would you like to share with us?
My goodness. So, okay, on my journey, I have realized that success has different definitions at each different stages, right? And so you mentioned my book earlier, and it's actually called Never Judge a Book by Its Cover, The Journey to My Success, right? And so at that point, I was in a really, really dark place, right? Like in an abusive relationship, nothing was going right. I lost my voice. I lost who I am, didn't trust the decisions that I was making because I made bad ones up until then. You know, I had a boyfriend who was a drug dealer, like all sorts of things. And then I got out of there eventually, like, you know, after kind of losing myself and all of that and trying to work on who I am and what it is that I want to do, I saw that at that point success because I got out of that life, right? And so as I got out of that and started learning more about myself, it was so funny because then I joined the police force, right? I went from one extreme to another extreme and joined the police force. And honestly, when I joined the police force, I never thought I would get in. Never thought I would get in. I applied as a complete joke, right? Like never thinking I would get in. I'm 4'11", right? And thought, no, there's no way that's gonna happen, right? And actually got in, and I was like, okay, well, damn, this is what I'm doing, right? And then I saw that as success because it wasn't something that I actually thought I would be doing. It wasn't a plan. It's something that worked out, and it worked out for my benefit. And I always believe things happen for a reason. And I use being part of the Met Police as a crutch to find myself again. Because if I'm with the police force, it was like a security blanket. I had to make sure I didn't go down that road again. Right? And so that was success to me. And then I remember I decided, like, after over 6 years in the police force, I'm going to start my own business. Because who does that, right? I'm going to start my own business. And then I was like, what the hell am I going to do? No idea. Right. And before all that happened, I was an MMA fighter. I was like, I love that. Beating the crap out of people is actually so much fun, guys. Right. Like, it is awesome. But then I ended up in hospital, right? And dislocated all my joints and hips and everything. I was on steroids, got out of that, and people were like, you are lucky, like you're able to move, you're able to walk because my spine was totally jacked up, right? Like it was all over the place. Again, then I saw that as success. But at every single one of those points, I was like, hold on a second, there's a reason why I'm still here. There's a reason, right? And so again, it was following that path. And then I remember saying, yeah, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to be international. I'm going to go big, right? People thought I was mad. They're like, you're crazy. I was told, oh my goodness, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to get back to reality? And then I was doing events management internationally and was hired by a US company and was traveling, living out of a suitcase for 5 years. And doing that was so much fun. Not married, no kids, so like, yeah, and got no issues with that. Love my freedom, love to travel, all that good stuff. So I got into events, right? Learned about business events. This is where I saw speakers on stage, right, talking about business. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. This is a thing. This is a thing. Like people actually do this. And it was the first time I saw, all right, this is how business works. This is what people are doing. This is what marketing, this is what sales is all about. And learned from gurus by watching them on stage while I was at these events. Kind of fast tracking it all. Pandemic happened, no more live events, and podcasting fell in my lap. Right? And I thought, all right, what is this? Let me tinker around with it. And this is when I started getting into podcasting. In the beginning, nobody would actually have me on their show. Nobody, right? Like it was crickets. And all of a sudden, after I tweaked and changed things around, I got booked on 100 podcasts in 60 days, right? And I was like, oh my goodness. And so people started asking me, how are you doing this? And so I was like, oh, this is the program. And then it started, right? So then I started teaching people how to do it. And then all of a sudden, podcasters that were interviewing me on their podcast were like, what's the name of your podcast? I was like, damn, I don't have one. Quick, let's go create one, right? So then created one, and people were like, how did you do that so quickly? And so then I started teaching people how to launch their own podcast. And I always started with video podcasting right from day one, right? I started this in 2021. And when I was telling people about video podcasting and how big it's going to be, they looked at me like I was mad. They're like, people are never going to watch video. People are only going to want to listen. And I'm like, no, like this is huge. It's going to be massive. Do it right now. And it's only just video just has just taken off in the UK right now. And so I can talk about this all day long, guys, but really success is determined at where you are in your life at that point. And it changes at every single point. And you got to be able to adapt and be flexible and just keep going because the whole world will keep changing if you don't keep up with all the changes, right? It will just keep on going. So to me, success is what you want to make it to be. right? You just got to keep going, build that momentum, and don't ever give up and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, right? Because you are the star, right? And you got to believe that.
Fantastic. Do you know your numbers, Kate?
I have no idea. I do not know my number.
Imagine all of that potential, all of that potential. At least your life path number.
Do you know what? I do know my name actually means muse.
Muse.
Yeah, so I drop inspiration around. I was like, well, I'll take that. Good with that.
Fantastic. I can resonate with it, with a lot of your life path, actually, the way that it's happened. Okay, Lau, jumping over to Kip Clark, soul-led entrepreneur and coach, transformation catalyst, thought stylist, the bohemian sophisticate, fountain pen addict, and also decorator extraordinaire. She didn't say that, and elite level athlete. You've had success, you are successful, you deal with women who are successful. What's your take on this juicy topic?
Yes. And, already just listening to the stories of my colleagues here and knowing your story too, Jenni, there are some commonalities that show up. And with the women I work with too, are high performing women, it's the same thing. So I want to speak directly to those of you that are high performers, because something that Jo touched on, actually, she said that for a while earlier in her career, she was doing things that she was good at, but she didn't enjoy them. And that happens a lot to high performers. It's called the competence trap. And it can leave us feeling really unfulfilled, really empty. So for those of you out there who you've achieved a level of success by all external markers, from the outside looking in, your life looks amazing. And yet on the inside, you do feel a sense of emptiness. You may be asking questions like, is this all there is? I thought there would be more than this. It's not burnout. It's not a lack of discipline. It's not a lack of motivation. It happens to a lot of highly capable women. And our instinct, because we're high achievers, is to double down, is to roll up our sleeves, put our heads down and soldier on. But that's not actually what's needed right now. And again, listening to the stories of these beautiful women here, you can hear how they've evolved over time. They've changed. The person that is sitting here today with us is not the same as the person she was 2, 3, 5, 10 years ago. And so it's not actually a mindset problem, that emptiness. It really has nothing to do with mindset. It's that you have evolved as a person, but the structures of your life have not, and you've outgrown them. And by the structures of your life, what I'm talking about are the processes, the systems, the habits, the roles, the commitments that you've made, the relationships you've built and maintained. Those all fold into the structures that support your life. And the thing is that they helped you achieve success in the past. And so what happens is we stay loyal to those because they've helped us achieve a certain level of success. But that loyalty is actually creating what I call a structural drag. And I was in a pub on the weekend with some friends, and TV's all around, as there so often is now. And on several of them, they were showing the strongest man in the world contests, these big beefcakes that are doing extraordinary things. And one of the challenges they had was they were strapped with this enormous leather strap around their waist. It was attached to a long chain, and it was connected to a fire truck. And their job was to move the fire truck just with the strength of their bodies. Can you imagine? But they can do it. The hardest part of that is getting over the inertia, getting that truck to start moving initially. That's the hardest, because once the truck starts moving a little bit, it gets easier and easier. But that initial inertia is really, really hard. And so when we're looking at our lives and we're trying to figure out what needs to change here, how do I get out of this? It's hardest at the beginning, which is why it's so important to have someone to help you with that, to guide you, a coach, a mentor, a consultant, whomever. Now, most people, most coaches, most helpers out there, very well-intentioned people, they'll typically try to give you something additional. They'll think perhaps this is a time management issue. I've got a tool that will help you optimize what you're doing. That's actually not what's needed now. Every woman here and everyone in the audience, you're probably extraordinary at managing 20 different things at one time. We're good at having plates spinning on top of poles. But the problem is when we get to a point where we're feeling this drag because we've outgrown all the structures of our life that we built for an earlier version of ourselves, if we don't recognize that, adding one more thing just feels even heavier. So initially, that's not what's needed. The tools, the programs, et cetera, those can be excellent as a subsequent step. But initially, what's needed is to take a look at everything you're doing, all the structures you've built, the relationships you've maintained, and see what now needs to be released. You've evolved, you've changed. I could hear it in Joe's story. I could hear it in Kay's story. We're going to hear it in the stories of these other amazing women. I know Jenni, oh my gosh, her transformation is unbelievable, the way she's evolved over time. If any of these women were still doing things the way they were doing them years ago, they wouldn't be achieving the success they're achieving now. So what's needed is to slow down, pause, take a breath, take a look at everything you've built already and see what now needs to be released with love, including in some cases, some relationships that we have. So don't let loyalty hold you back. The loyalty to outgrown structures is what creates that structural drag, and it's not going to help you get to your next level. So this is all about subtraction rather than addition as an initial step. And that includes the roles, the commitments, the responsibilities, the processes, the systems, the relationships that you've had. And when you start doing this, again, it's so difficult initially, but once you get a little bit of momentum going, the clarity returns, the energy returns. You're going to feel like you have more time, more freedom, more opportunities will start showing up because you're creating space for them. And the idea is not to get rid of a lot of what you're doing so that you can then fill that space back up again right away. It's allowing you a chance to breathe, to expand, and to really be clear about what's next for you. So the best place to start is by asking questions. I'm really, really good at asking questions. The question is not what's missing, what do I need to add here? A much better question to ask is, what am I supporting here that no longer belongs? And the most powerful question is, what am I no longer available for? So I'm Kip with the curly hair. I'd love to have a conversation with you if this resonates. It's possible to get back to that state of thriving again, and I'd love to help you to do that.
Thank you, Majestic, and I shall never forget. I've got Joe in my ear, and I've also got Kip in my ear, who reminded me about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago or so, Jenni, kill your darlings. Because we've known each other a long time, so she sees the way that I work, that I feel, that I keep feeling, and she said, kill your darlings. And I was like, actually, I think she's right. So much wisdom. And thank you, Kip. That was really majestic. I just want to see you on a bigger stage. Hopefully somebody's going to see you here and offer you a real live 3D stage for this, because you're just such a fantastic speaker. Okay, let's come to Agnes. Agnes is the women Agnes serves are a little bit similar to Kip, but they have quite different approaches. So Agnes, share with us.
Wow, where do I even start? One thing that happens to me when I am in a room like this with women telling their own stories is I know what I want to talk about, and then I hear everything and I want to bounce back on everything and I go, oh my God, where do I even start? So yeah, I could, of course, well, let me rewind. This morning I did a very interesting exercise actually. I read an article about Nicole Kidman, who has reinvented herself at 3 levels by leaving a relationship of 20 years, by losing her mother, and by starting a training as a death doula. And when I read it, I went like, oh my God, this is so much me, but a part that I had forgotten, because you may know that I always say that since my mid-40s, I've reinvented myself 4 times already. And I realized, and yes, you missed the complete start. So I did a timeline, and at 69, obviously, that was not a short one. And so I had to divide it visually in a landscape format on 2 lines. So the first part was everything around the moves, changing countries and stuff like that, and having the kids, the relationships, etc. So more the directly personal level. And then the second part is where it all started, where I suddenly realized that at 41, that's the part I completely missed when I talk about it. I left the father of my daughter. I lost my mother, and I started my reconversion journey. And I thought, isn't that what Nicole Kidman thing is talking about? So I missed that triple effect, in fact, of getting started on my journey, because I always talk about when I left corporate to set up my business and then, from there. And it was a very beautiful visual description of what I keep saying, that reinvention is not the end of something, it's an evolution, which is why I talk about reinvention as the architecture of reinvention, because you don't have to break everything down. You are actually looking at what is working, what is not working in your life. And instead of saying I'm demolishing everything or I'm leaving altogether, I'm deciding to design an extension. And that's structural work. So bouncing back on a lot of the things that Kip said, that's structural. That's not something where you say, okay, I'm painting 2 walls and I'm adding a few cushions. It's much deeper than that. And when I then look at how my life evolved, I'm a living example of what I'm preaching, what I'm teaching. I then left a toxic relationship, losing everything. It was a very conscious choice. And on that timeline, I labeled it the before and after, because yes, I forgot the 41 stage, but the 57 one was really a before and after. I wouldn't be where I am today without it. And then at 58, I moved to London with 2 suitcases, no income, no savings, and rebuilt myself there. And from there, I ended up at 66 to move to Croatia, because I decided that I didn't buy societal expectations of what the life of a woman 50 plus should look like. I am choosing to live a slower pace of life, but I'm definitely choosing to continue working, I don't even call it work, on my passion to help women reinvent themselves after 50. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about originally, before going like this now, is what is success actually? What is that definition of success? And it made me realize something that I keep saying, and you mentioned it. I talk about conditioned success. We are all where we are in life as the consequence of our choices, but more often than not, they were not ours. And what I mean by that is, how many of our important choices have we made, whether it's the career, the roles we are embracing, and etc., because our parents, family, teachers, whatever, said that is what we should be doing. And I have a very good, more recent example, more recent as in the span of my life. When I started my reconversion to coaching, everyone said that I should become an executive coach, because with 25 years of corporate life, that is what I should be doing. So I thought that I chose that. I didn't choose it. It's taken me 9 years to realize that this is not what I wanted, but the peer pressure had been such that I thought I had made that decision. It wasn't mine. And so we all tend to gravitate in that world, and it works. I mean, in particular with women, where we have so many other expectations of us, work, our time caring for others, forgetting ourselves in the process, and etc. So there's a whole level of expectations on women that are much stronger even, and it works until it doesn't anymore, because we just fit what was expected. We're collecting the titles, we're collecting all the exterior signs of what success is, but it's not ours. And we wake up one day and we think, wait a moment, the questions that I'm asking now is no longer, do I need this, do I want that, and etc. It's, what is it that I really want in life? Sorry, my voice is leaving once more. And so that is the point where you then start realizing that you're living a life that has been conditioned, and you wonder, is this actually what I want? And that is when you start looking at, okay, what is it that I want instead? And I'm always coming back to that notion of what is the vision you're having. And it has more to do with, I want to wake up in the morning and be clear about what it is that I want my day to look like. I want to be in a relation that I have chosen, not one that I'm staying in because all the because that there can be. And that is when you realize that, going back to what Kip is saying, we have the same language around that. I've outgrown my life. This is no longer what I want. And what I want is a life that is aligned with the woman that I have become. And how do you do that? By changing your definition of what success actually looks like. No longer conditioned success, but a life that is, again, using a term that has been used multiple times, that is aligned with the woman that I have become.
Brilliant. And I'm thinking of Kay here, that she's probably got quite a few more reinventions to come. She's a young thing compared to us veterans. But yes, absolutely. There is no finite point where you just say, okay, that's it. It's an ongoing journey. Like, we can keep reinventing ourselves, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's no reason, and I actually believe that is a completely natural way to be. Okay, moving on to Karen Goodchild, another little queen of alignment, and a beautiful new body of work called The Frequency Factor, and the very exciting Frequency-Led Leadership Mentor. I bet you've enjoyed hearing all this.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, resonating with everything everybody said. And yeah, yeah, we could carry on this conversation all night, couldn't we? So yeah, what this got me thinking about is very personal to me. And when I think about success, hearing Kay talk about, what success means through different stages of your life, I can look back at my life, even from school. I've always made sure I was successful in everything that I did, and something would show up and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm doing this now, and make a success of it. And then, something else, whether, the jobs that I landed after I finished university, which, you kind of find yourself going down a path, but always making a success of it. And that's included my entrepreneurial journey as well. I didn't know what I was doing. I just quit my job, thought, right, I'm going to start my own business now. I've got all these certifications, all this, knowledge, and had gained some experience as well. Launched my business and made a success of it. I was earning, within the first month or two, earning what I earned in my education job. But then, just thinking about it, the level of success it's always been just enough for me. I'd never allowed myself to go beyond. It was always kind of capped at a certain level. And it's only that's what's kind of born this new body of work, because I found myself stuck at this level. When you become into the entrepreneurial journey, you want expansion, don't you? You're continuously working on yourself, you're doing the inner work. And as you expand, you want your results and your business and your impact to expand along with that. And what I found was it wasn't. I'd done the inner work. I could feel that I was ready for the next level of success, to grow, to be seen, to be recognized, to get the next level of income, that I wanted, as well as impact. And it just wasn't. And I found myself stuck for probably about 2 years in this space of frustration, really, not really understanding why I wasn't getting those next level results, that next level of success that I wanted. It wasn't that I didn't see myself as successful, but I just couldn't quite get to that next level that I could feel my soul pulling me towards, really. I'm a life path one. So, I'm here to leave, I'm here to innovate, I'm here to create impact, but I just wasn't seeing it. So this is what's led me to my work now, because of course worked through it finally. And it's this hidden gap between the internal readiness and the results. And I do it in a frequency-led way. All my work is about frequency-led living and leadership. So, working with the women, like me, who've done the inner work, she knows who she is. She's clear on what she's here to do, done the mindset work, done the strategy, knows where she wants to go, even, changed lifestyle, got healthy relationships, all that's been cleared, but still not getting those results. And I thought it was about being more visible, being more consistent, doing more. But what I've realized is it goes deeper than that. We've talked already tonight about, Kip, you were saying that, our instinct is to do more, to show up more, to keep going, to keep pushing through, to fix something, to change something, and which is what I was doing. But, it just wasn't working. It was really frustrating, and mentally I was ready. So I was thinking, well, what's going on? What more do I need to do? I'm ready. Come on, my soul's putting me forward. My mind's ready. It felt like I was on the cusp of something. And, I'm seeing this with so many people that I'm working with as well. It's that thing, I feel you're on the cusp of it. You can almost taste it. It's there, but you're just left waiting and waiting. So this is this hidden gap that I'm talking about. It's the gap between who you are now and what your body is available for, because the body doesn't move at the same pace as the mind. So you can have the clarity, you can feel the pull of where you're going, but if your body is still holding the resonance of an older version of yourself, that continues to show up in your results. So that's where I found myself getting stuck. It's like every time I got ready to take that leap, to take action, to expand, to grow, my body would brace. It would brace for the impact. It was still remembering the old version of me, the old abandonment, the old rejection, all that we've worked through at a mindset level, but actually at a physiological level, my body was still remembering. So what I found I was doing was, I'd show up and then I'd pull back. Or I think, I've got something really great to say. I'd get a download of something really inspirational of, what I wanted to say or who I wanted to say or somebody I wanted to reach out to. But then I'd either water it down or just type it and then not actually post it. It's because, it's there at a mind level, but my body was still protected. I'm still protecting myself. My body was still protecting me. So it's the body not quite feeling that level of trust and safety to hold that level of success that the mind is ready for. And that's what creates this push-pull, stop energy. So from a frequency-led perspective, it's that the body doesn't expand through doing more. The body expands through recalibration by releasing the stored emotional imprints that are held in the body, through the integration of a new level of safety and through a shift in the frequency that the body is organized around. So, when we're stuck in that space, we're asking ourselves, well, why isn't this working? Why aren't I seeing the success that I know that I'm ready for? What we should really be asking is my body actually available for the level of success that I'm asking for? Because you can't lead beyond the frequency that your body is still organized around. So when that shifts, when your body catches up with who you've become, when that trust is felt internally and when that safety is felt in the body, that's when the next level of success can be found. And that's when others feel it too, because people no longer just buy from somebody they like. People buy from people they feel safe with, who they can really trust. And people are more in tune with energy, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, than ever. People can feel that incongruence between what's going on in the body, the mind, the soul. And if there's a disconnect there, it's felt. So people may be liking your work, commenting, oh my God, I love what you're doing, love what you're saying, that really resonates. But if they don't feel that safety from you, because it's lacking in you as well, then they're not going to buy. That's kind of where I felt myself stuck far too long. And that's what I help people with now. And that's what the frequency factor is. It's that natural internal state of balance and trust and grounded authority. Yeah, and that's where that next level of success starts to show up. Not through doing more, but when you let go of all the things within the body that are holding you back and holding the success back.
Brilliant, beautiful presentation. There's a book in there, Karen, and I've got the name.
Have you?
Yes. That what came in while we were talking is Mind the Gap.
Yes.
Mind the Gap. Jenni's a wordsmith.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, right. On to Kate. We're getting deeper and deeper and deeper into bodies now, and Kate's going to take us to a whole new level, doing extremely brave healing work with the same brilliance and the same vision Kate, over to you.
Thank you. This has been just empowering to sit and listen and to hear and feel everyone's passion in what they do. So thank you, everyone. And Karen, you couldn't have been a better lead-in because my work is exactly along those same lines. Different methodology, but it's the same thing. And I'm going to talk about success as in a personal fulfillment way. Yes, there is professional success that is important and that happens, and high-performing women, high-thriving women go through this. So I'm speaking to them as well, but I'm also speaking to the level of personal fulfillment and how that feels in you, in your journey, in your life. So my client that I deal with comes from a place of mastering her outer world. Highly successful, accomplished, capable, brilliant, and yet she's lost the connection with herself. She doesn't know herself in her own skin. It's gone, or it has never been there. She's been thinking her way through her life, and she's been in her head so long that the rest of her has gone quiet. And I call this the great disconnection. You know, it's the same thing. It's that gap between the brain, the mind, and the body. If we're just constantly doing and thinking and managing and directing our way through our life, we're missing the connection with our bodies. And that connection, that disconnection, I want to talk about a little bit because it comes with a particular kind of loneliness. And it's the loneliness of not knowing yourself. And it doesn't get talked about when we're entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs especially, out in the world doing our thing, but yet there's this feeling that something's missing and we can't quite put our finger on it. We can't name it. We can't touch it and feel it. It doesn't get spoken about. This leaves a big ache in women, and it leaves them feeling a stranger in their own life. Big disconnect. And what also doesn't get talked about is that the way back to your body isn't through your mind. You know, you can't think your way back into yourself. You can't hustle your way back home. It's through the body. And the body is not going to open, will not let you open until she feels safe. It's that same thing. It's that safety factor. And safety is the condition where everything becomes possible. So it's not softness, it's not weakness. It's actually empowering, and it's a place to return home to in our bodies. When a woman doesn't feel safe, she stays braced, she stays armored, she stays living on the surface of her life, whether it's professional, personal, particularly personal. You're not in your life, you're not in your relationship, you've shut down. A lot of clients that I see, I hear it again and again. They're independent. They don't need anybody. They've got this. They're on their path. And what they've done essentially is shut down from the inside. And they're not letting their relationships really fully bloom open. They're not bringing themselves fully to these relationships. And so there's the gap, the great disconnect. So my methodology is called feminine body mapping. And feminine body mapping is a journey back to ourselves. And it's through the sacred portals of the female anatomy, through the heart, through the womb, through the places in a woman's body that holds her deepest wisdom, the places that hold her oldest wounds, and the places that have the most profound capacity for healing. In feminine body mapping, we don't talk about the body from a distance. We enter it. We go directly to those places. So we go with reverence, with love, with compassion, and with safety as the foundation every step of the way. Without it, you are lost. It just doesn't happen until you're fit, until you feel safe to feel these feelings. So essentially, when a woman finds safety, true felt safety, all the parts of her that have been locked away, all the parts that she stored away, the feelings that she could never access, the emotional needs that she learned to silence, all starts to come up to the surface. And that's how she becomes full in her life. That's how a woman becomes whole. It ripples out into all areas of her life. But when a woman feels whole, it's like the missing pieces were always there and they were waiting for the safety, the place to come back to herself in her body. This is where self-trust is built. It's not built in the mind, right? Self-trust is a feeling that you know in your bones, deep down in your soul. There is a sense of connection now. We're not operating from our minds. We're operating from our minds and our body. It has to be both. But when we typically are just up here in our brain, the loop stays on. The loop of all of our wounds, our hurts, our traumas, they stay up here in our mind and they never have a chance to come through. And that's how we move forward in our life, from listening to our bodies, from returning. And yeah, it's not in the doing. It's not in the work. It's not in achieving. It's in returning back to our bodies as a woman to feel whole and to come home. So all of that is just waiting for us underneath of the safety.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm actually starting to get quite emotional there. Thank you so much.
And I'm a life number 2. So yeah, I've done my numbers. So it works. It connects for me.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I am just, what a stellar group of women on the runway. Just incredible wisdom and experience and brilliance and vision and ideas and so much that we're putting out into the world. I'm going to give you an extremely potted version of my path because I would quite a few tomes long, and it began with the fact that I decided at a very early age that I was going to follow my heart, and I didn't have any idea what success looked like, or material success particularly, but that I would just do what I wanted to and really follow my heart, but with huge dreams, like really, really, really huge dreams. So every single chapter of my life has been one big dream to another. Like really one big dream, and they just got bigger and bigger and bigger, having my own restaurants, being published celebrity foodie writer, coming to France, restoring chateaus. And then my biggest chapter, which a few ladies know about already, was this dream that had been with me for such a long time, which was to dance with horses. So in 2003, actually had a few years being a professional cabaret artist, equestrian cabaret artist. Yes, that's dancing with horses. And it's thanks to that period that actually gave me this incredible epiphany that gave rise to the wisdom that came through, that then became a beautiful methodology called the Trinity Code. And then I took that into branding, personal branding and coaching. But all of that, which it sounds incredibly yellow brick road, but through all of that, I had 4 marriages and divorces, 3 of them alcoholic. I think actually 4 of them were probably alcoholic. 4 bankruptcies. 3 of them went bankrupt. I had my own time when I put my business into dissolution. So every massive expansion, every big step forward was always, followed by an incredible crash, but I never ever saw them as a crash. I probably did when I was younger, but as I got used to husbands and divorces and bankruptcy, I was like, okay, well, what's next? Just like bring it on. I know that failure is the bright side of holding on to your best vision of life. Like if you feel like you're failing, or you look like you're failing, or whatever thoughts of failing are in your head or even in your circumstances, it's always the best sign that this is an opportunity to just go back to the heart and say, what do you really want? As Anya said, what do you really want? What do you really want? And gave rise to this beautiful platform, the Brand Runway. I also just want to quickly just touch on the fact that I came online in 2009-10, which was the explosion of the period when business and personal development came together with all of the, The Secret was much later, but it was at that time that there was this massive popularity in personal development, business and personal development. And then all of a sudden we went into from the era of motivation into the era of information, into the era of education, into the era of initiation. And we are over those eras now. I am proud, so proud of the women that I work with, because I feel that they are in a new era, which I am calling right now, today, the era of activation. This is really the era of activation. And there is really no such thing as not success. And I remember my dear, beautiful departed mother, who was such an inspiration to me. And she said a very long time ago, really, really, really long time ago, out of all of you children, Jenni is probably the one most likely to be a millionaire, only don't hold your breath. So I'm just like, don't hold your breath. So we just have a little time. If anybody wants to pull up anything or say, or if you want to come to, or be contrarian to anybody's ideas, I don't think you are. Or if we just lay this on the runway as the most incredible body of wisdom and brilliance available to everybody. I think I'm getting nods of assent.
Well, Jenni, I think what strikes me is all the intersections. We're all different people. We've all had different life experiences, and yet we're, by happenstance, by fate, whatever, it's just we've all kind of arrived at the same perspective, but from different ways, which is quite extraordinary, really. And that's thanks to you, Jenni. You've curated this group, but I'm struck by it as I'm listening to my colleagues speaking. I'm just so struck by how many similarities and overlapping ideas we have among us. It's really quite amazing.
Absolutely. We really are brilliant.
Can I say something that I've noticed? So 11 is inspirational, okay? K is the 11th letter. Kip, Karen, Katie, K, 1111, right? 11's going on. So the first thing we see when we meet people is the first letter of the first name. Inspiration, 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 inspiration. J is 10, which is 1, Jenni and myself. Innovation, leadership. And A is also innovation, leadership. So, and 11 is made up of 2 1s. So there you go.
Wow.
No mistakes.
No mistakes.
Love it.
Yeah, no mistakes. You can find all of these incredible women, their work, and most of all, their beautiful, incredible articles in issue 1 of Spotlight and Kay's double page podcast spread. And I will share, wherever this broadcast is shared, I will share links to where you can find them, where you can get into our world in the Front Row Club. And I hope that wherever you are, that you can comment on this and come close to these women. You cannot do worse than having these incredible women in your world. I'm not just talking professionally. In this era, that's my humanitarian vision, was creating a runway where visionary women could have their voice, be seen, and mostly be found, so that we together can make humanity and the planet and everything that we want to with our lovely, soft, gentle, brilliant hearts a better place. So thank you, my audience, for listening. You will have the link here to magazine, and it'll just download straight into your inbox. There's no searching for it. We are all available to continue the conversation with you and know your experience too. So thank you to Joe Soli, Kay Suthar, to Agnes Van Reen, I like saying that, Karen Goodchild, Kip Clark, Kate Danaher, and I am your host and founder of Brand Runway. This is just the beginning of this incredible adventure. We really are going to take the world by storm. So thank you for watching, and we will see you very, very soon.